Record.
Good.
Okay. Are we?
So
Okay, we're good.
you are recording, yes.
Yep.
So you're back to school. So fill me in. Where are you at right now with everything in this transition back to school?
Do you mean school wise or?
I mean, business wise, feeling wise, just what the heck's going on with Lisa right now?
Do I have to do that? Because then I'm probably gonna cry.
Yes, then.
Is that a yes?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, great. Um, so part of it is when I left in June, I thought that things were going really well there and all that sort of stuff. But she's into hockey and she's into um, growing her business and all that other stuff. She's very entrepreneurial minded and very successful all over the world and all that other stuff. So she knows what she wants. She knows who to chase. She knows who the movers and the shakers are, and that's where she gravitates to. The reason why she gravitated towards me is because when she realized that although she had great staff, she didn't have the administrative support. She had no idea of how to run a school. And this kind of collided at a time where I didn't want administration or leadership or anything like that. I needed a job, so I took it. But that's when I collided with coaching. And so because of what she wanted and because of where I was going, we were able to create a win-win situation where I would be coaching these athletes that were coming in from all over the world to play like varsity hockey. And I would be dealing with their academics, dealing with their social emotional, dealing with setting them up for success on the ice. So looking at mindset, and also looking at getting them ready for university and applying for those scholarships. So essentially that was going to be where I was going. And so she asked that I would, knowing that I was going to leave for reduced workload to 2 days a week, that I come back to work in September full time. And then in October, I would go down to 2 days a week. And with that being said, that the 2 days a week that I spend would be predominantly doing quick check-ins with elementary students and then spending most of my time doing one-to-one short coaching sessions with the student athletes. Since then, over the summertime, that's where I left. Since then, over the summertime, she's hired somebody who's actually either administered or taught at an elite hockey academy, which, I don't have that experience or whatever. She also plays hockey, and so she knows all about the hockey world and the hockey land and all that sort of stuff. And so that's now her new person hired her on and basically said, like, I went in day one, introduced myself. This is what I do. If you need me until we get programming set up, blah, blah, blah. I'll be floating around all over the place and, all that sort of stuff. And basically she said, no, I need you in the elementary wing. I'll be down here in the secondary. You're going to take elementary and you're not doing that job anymore. And I'm like, okay, so I don't really know what job I'm supposed to be doing. So I go down to the elementary. They're separated just by space. Go down to the elementary and like all I see is like administrative filing tasks that she's kind of left out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I just don't. So that's not me. No. So, okay. So then I start doing what I usually do, which is, the actual leadership part. And I'm, collaborating with teachers, and I'm looking at classroom structure, and I'm looking at students, and I'm doing what I would normally do in the absence of having any other instruction. And I say, okay, well, we're going to do energy leadership with the students, and the teachers, you'll have prep time. And so what I was going to do is I was going to take the because their big part in the school is entrepreneurial minded, like that's their big thrust. And so I was going to take the basically the workbook from mod 3, that's the business portion, and recreate or regenerate all of the activities and all of those sorts of things and make it more age appropriate, so it's accessible to the students, while at the same time showing them videos and then teaching them all about energy leadership and all that sort of stuff. So I put myself, I worked with the teachers, figured out timing, schedule, blah, blah, blah. She asked the teachers to submit the schedule, saw that I was on the schedule to do leadership, which was only scheduled for an hour a week. And it was done by way of group. It wasn't like individual, whatever. Coaching was just group sessions. And she nixed it. I don't want you doing that. I'm like, okay.
So here, every role you've stepped into, I gotta change my lighting, it's too bright. Every role you've stepped into has been
next.
Every piece where you see your zone of genius being able to play out has been completely shut down.
Yep. So then, like, in addition to not, in my mind, being as successful as I want to be with the coaching piece, the part that I knew that was a for sure that I'd get some, whatever, is not coming to fruition.
Yeah.
So that kind of pissed me off. Yeah. I'm like, Chris, I'm fucking done. I can't go there. I can't work there. I can't sit there and do nothing. Like today, literally today, I went in there and I sat down at the computer and I wrote for Live, Lead, Play.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. And then I knew that I had this call at 4:00. I'm typically not supposed to leave until 4:00. I'm like, yeah, I had a doctor's appointment, so I'm cutting out at 3, 2:45, whatever. I just came home.
Yeah.
So it's a total shit show there. Like, there's a kid that I was working with before I left, and I had just started the energy leadership stuff. I think it's well beyond my scope, but I was just trying to keep it kind of like in terms of what he needs, but trying to keep it more academic focused because school is his safe place. Mm-hmm. So if I could move him out of that, the going back and forth between the level 1, level 2, in terms of his schoolwork, so at least he could maintain that part of his life being happy.
Yeah.
And we were working with Dad so that he would have social work or whatever it was that he needed on the side, that'd be good. Well, even with this particular fellow that I had started, and I'd only worked with him on getting to through level 2 to understand what that was and what the consequences were and how that was playing out for him. Dad was completely shocked. Was the first time ever anybody had ever broken through to the kid where he was actually able to talk. Social worker called the school, wanted to talk to me and said, I've been trying to work with that kid for the last 3 years and he refuses to speak to me, and you would just walk in there and you're able to, no, I'm okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that she won't let me work with him.
Wow.
He had a massive...
Every place that you shine,
yeah,
he puts the damper on.
He had a massive panic attack in the at the end of last week. Refused to come to school on Friday. And then she came and talked to me and said, yeah, and don't talk to him because he just wants to make believe like it didn't happen if he shows up, and he's on watch for because dad thinks he's suicidal and all this other thing. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't you have me speak to him? I'm the only person to date that he has spoken to.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you let me speak to him? I'm not going to fix the fact that he's suicidal. I'm not going to try and cure all of those things. So it's well out of my range. But I do know a thing or two about anxiety as somebody who struggles with it. And I know about mental health disorders or mental health issues. I can at least get him into a place where he's coming to school and I can get him on the level again.
Mm-hmm.
He came into school today after she had told me not to talk to him, leave him alone. I'm like, whatever, go play in your secondary school. And I let him. He came from his desk and he kind of sat next to me at the desk next to me, didn't say a word. I thought, okay. So he looks over at me and he goes, I need help with a question. And I'm like, sure. So I go over. Yep. Okay, that's it, he says to me. Okay, no problem. And then it just kind of went back and forth like that over a period of a couple of hours. And then after that, he's like, Miss, can you help me? Miss, can you, how you doing? How was your weekend? Did you go for your tryouts this weekend? Like, I can get him moving where he needs to be, yet she doesn't want me to muck with that. So that's got me agitated.
You have every right to be pissed.
Like,
you have every right to be pissed. You went in there to support her because she needed the support, and you created programs that she was on board with, and now you aren't able to do any of the things that you were called in there to do.
Yep.
Of course you're pissed.
So she says, so I'm supposed to also run this SAT program, which is fine. It's extra money for me. I ran it last year. She wants it all done in this new system, which is fine. She wants part of it done by way of video, like how we're doing right now, which I'm like, okay, fine, because we know that that's not my favorite place to be. But okay, fine. And the other part would be class time. So I start working on that piece, and she wants me to start calling. She goes, none of this Facebook stuff that you do works. You've spent thousands of dollars on advertising and none of it works. It doesn't. You have to go out and you have to hustle. You have to generate leads. It's all word of mouth. You have to know people. You have to call people. You have to network. You can't just put something on computer and spend money on that and think that that's going to get people to come to the SAT course and all this other thing. So she goes, who are you going to call? I'm like, nobody. She's like, no, you have to call people. What groups are you going to call? And I said, well, you have your new athletic protege, and I'm sure she's very well connected. You can have her call. I said, you've got a pro football player who's a teacher. I'm sure he's connected. You can call. And then I said, my job is to teach. So I'm creating this entire program. I've got it all set up into modules. I'm creating videos. I'm going to be working with parents, and I'm going to be working with kids. That's my job. If, I put it on Facebook as form of advertisement. I don't have to make it so that you're paying for anything. It's just on there. I've already got a person who's registered. Plus, I'm already connected to somebody else who's doing all the leg lifting, because they're the how do you call it? They're the he's the head coach of baseball, and he's in charge of recruiting to get the kids into the United States and to colleges that want them playing and possibly making it to MLB. So I'm working with him because he's got all the connects in the community. Yeah. I don't need to work with anybody else.
Yeah, you've got the strategic partner that can connect you to the kids.
So it's just very frustrating. So what ends up happening is...
It sounds like there's no way that you can feel heard, seen, understood by your boss right now.
I just need to get the hell out. I just need to, I can't work to help her to build her practice.
If you're going to be doing all that shit, you should be doing that for your business.
Right? And it's exhausting. And then I get upset because I feel like it's wasting my time.
Yeah.
Like I'm just going there to collect $700 a week. Wow, frick.
Yeah.
You're wasting my time. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the other part that I tried to talk out with Chris that's upsetting me, because I see what you're doing, because you went to your coach and then you did a little 180 there, because all of a sudden there was a new Facebook group that was developed, and there were videos, and then all of a sudden the posts started coming, which is something that wasn't happening with you prior to. So I could see the shift. I could see the realignment and happening, and the posturing and the questioning to generate the conversations and all of those sorts of things. I'm like, okay. And I said, there's a couple of things that are, I guess, that are happening for me. One, I'm introverted. Most people don't think that I am. I'm exceptionally introverted. Can I stand in front of 100 people and talk? Yes. Can I, can I go online and do this with you? Can I go online and do it? Yes. What it does is it takes, for somebody who's extroverted, that is like fuel for the fire. Like I can tell all day long that you are an extrovert. Your smile cannot get any, oh, I don't believe you. You are so full of shit. Your smile is so big. And so and you're feeding off of the people, and you're feeding off of their responses and the hearts and the loves and the kisses and all this shit. And I'm like, okay,
it's not true, Lisa.
I cannot.
It's not true.
It is a detractor of energy for me. Every time I feel like I need to go and to make the video or whatever, I need to sleep. Is what I want to take a nap. Like it physically takes that much energy for me to have to do it.
So what sort of things are going through your mind before the idea of being on video comes up?
It's completely about imposter syndrome. It's about this is what I said to Chris. Like, you're asking me to go back to a community of people who are teachers and principals and all that stuff, who are very judgmental people by nature. We are critical. And I was supposed to be that for life. And retire. Made 120 for fun. Could do whatever I want. And I failed. So, and everybody knows it. So here I'm going to come out and be a leadership coach. When people say about coaching, first of all, you get a laugh, not like a ha 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 in your face kind of laugh, but it's a laugh like I don't know how to say other than to say like fluffy. They think you're fluffy, and it's not even like a real thing. Like Chris is doing his master's in social work, and so at the end of the day, he's gone back to school, and he can say, I've got an actual MSW, right? And I've got a coaching certificate. Well, what is that? You're going to coach people in leadership or whatever and yet you couldn't manage your own position.
So your gremlin is having a heyday with a lot of pain from that previous position when you were at an all-time high and lost it all.
So to go to like, it's easy for me to coach from behind a computer. It's easy for me to coach from one-on-one. It's easy for me to make slide screen videos and do the thing, like webinars or whatever. I can do all of that.
Clearly.
But for me to go and do, to go to a warm market.
So what if we shifted it wasn't a warm market? What if there were a happy medium where it's not like going to your warm market where there's still a lot of pain, but it's also not just hiding fully behind the computer screen?
Like what would that be? Because I don't know what that is. I have to go to a gala. I freaking hate galas, and I don't like to wear a dress.
So first and foremost, like before we even get into strategy, Lisa, we gotta get a handle on this gremlin, because it's so fucking full of shit and it's ruining your life and it's keeping you hidden and it's going to show up. In fact, no matter how much you hide behind the screen, it's still there, and it's going to come in and sabotage anything and everything until we get it gone. So what is this big gremlin message that has just been reeling for you these past couple of weeks?
Just failure, continued failure, over and over and over again. And it's like in the coaching world, and I got pissed off when I saw this, but I think a limiting belief or something, whatever it was, is that said that the harder you work, the more successful you'll become. But in coaching, that doesn't translate. Mm-hmm. In the education world, it did. Until I started reading and studying and in fact come to now learn that the harder you work, that's great on the front end of your career, and that might get you to a middle management position. But then once you get there, you hit a brick wall. Mm-hmm. And it no longer translates that way, because it's not about how hard you work. It's like working smarter, working with your heart, working with your, interacting with people and stepping into leadership power. That's really what it translates to. But it's still deep, because there hasn't been really any real success to hold on to at this point in time. Mm-hmm. Right? To kind of sink your teeth into. Like if I was, I think, I could start to believe, I think I could anyways, that if I had one client, for example, that was generated as a result, that would be like, okay, well, this is working, or this can happen for you, or there's something of success that you can now start building a different or recreating a story that's different. But
that's a lie.
It's not translating.
It's a lie, because you know what? If you got one client, the gremlin's not going to be satisfied with that. You'd still be a fuck up in the gremlin's eye. If you had 10 clients, if you were making 6 figures, it's never enough for your gremlin. And the deepest place is flipping the script, because that doesn't happen until the script is flipped. You know that.
So how do I do that?
the clients come.
Say that again.
Once you feel successful, the clients come.
Like I even said, I can't even say coach because I get that look from people.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get embarrassed immediately. I don't even tell people.
So let's go back to, I want to, there's so much pain. And I remember the very first time I met you. I mean,
It's a disaster.
So much pain, which of course there is. It was such a significant loss. And your expert authority is hiding in that pain. There's a reason why you want to go into emotional resiliency. There's a reason you want to go into leadership. And how connected to what you're most passionate about is related to the pain that you've been through in that role.
Are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
It's 100% connected.
Mm-hmm. And so when you think about that situation that was so painful, what's the mission behind it now that you want to bring out into the world so that doesn't happen again for you or anybody else?
Well, I want to teach people that there's a different way. There's a better way. It doesn't have to result in having to leave or having to walk away or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And how much similarity is there with this current situation to that painful exit before?
The other exit came as a result of workplace harassment. She's not harassing me in any way, shape, or form. In fact, she was very supportive, even all the way through to get coaching and all that sort of stuff. And I thought was readily wanting to incorporate it into her business and all that good stuff. And the issue that I'm having right now with my current job, it's more of an issue around not be feeling stuck in not want and be I can't move. I feel like I'm in a cage. I feel like, so if I was to make the parallel, it would be that it's not so much the quality of the leadership, it's more of the stuck being in a cage, not having freedom, not being able to move, feeling trapped, feeling like like I feel trapped or bound because she's paying me $700 a week. Mm-hmm. Right? And we need the money. So it's not like I can just up and say, you know what, like it looks like you're all set for your staffing and you have a different direction or whatever. God bless you. I wish you well. And, if you ever need anything. And I don't even think it would be like leaving on, bad terms or anything. It wouldn't be anything like that. She's delightful. It's just I'm not fitting into her vision and she's not fitting into mine. And so that makes me angry and stuck and trapped and caged. And I don't like that. I've never been that person ever. Mm-hmm. My parents from very little have always, they had to fight for everything. And I swore it would never happen. That I would always be like the only kid that went to university. I'm the only kid that's ever had anything. I own my parents' house. I take care of them. And now I can barely take care of myself. It's craziness. So I feel stuck. Yeah. And then add insult to injury is that when, like, at least if I have to be there, then at least let me do what I'm good at. Yeah. or I'm going to abuse the time and get fired. That's what's going to happen, because I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Yep, sorry, I'm not doing that. And I think I'm going to write my live, lead, play articles on your time while you're paying me.
So stuck, trapped, like you don't fit in.
Yep.
In a cage. And when you think throughout your life experiences, your upbringing, growing up, previous careers, relationships, how often have you seen that theme of being stuck in a cage?
Always. It's the recurring theme.
Mm-hmm. And how is that showing up in your business right now?
The same.
So with that realization,
I'm trapped in a terrible world of production.
Mm-hmm.
I got great shit, though. I'm just saying. But
you got great shit. You just need to get it in front of more eyes, but not superficial eyes.
They're what?
You need to get in front of more eyes, but not safe eyes.
Yes.
It's like you're out there, but you're still hiding when you were doing all the ad stuff.
Yes. Maybe. Okay.
Like, it's easy to not be afraid of rejection when you don't know who the fuck's looking at your stuff.
Yep.
So it's like you're out there, but you're still hiding.
Oh, for sure.
So, but back to this recognition that this is where you've been over and over and over again. What stands out to you about that, and what that means for getting out of the cage?
I don't know. I don't know what you're asking me.
When you look at the big picture of the feelings you continuously experience in your life, not the circumstances about if it was harassment or if it was a delightful boss, but the overarching feelings that you experience over and over again, no matter where you go, what does that tell you?
Well, clearly the problem is mine. I don't know how to fix it or make a change. I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to get out from the cage, the box,
Mm-hmm. So how does staying in the cage in the box serve you?
It doesn't.
Well, it must.
Well,
You have the power to break
sorry, it does. It keeps me safe in the sense that I don't have to put myself out there. And if I don't have to put myself out there, then I don't have to be criticized, and I don't have to be judged, and I don't have to be laughed at, and I don't have to be, seen as the failure or.
So of course you're still in a cage.
Yeah.
It's protecting you. It's a personal hell, but at least it's a hell you know and you're familiar with. You don't know what's outside of that cage. That's scary. But what could be outside of that cage?
Hell if I know. It better be freaking good if I'm doing all this work.
Well, it could be worse, or
it could be great.
It could be everything that you've envisioned for your life. And so, what do you need to be able to make a decision and decide, either staying in the cage knowing that this is what it is and what it's been and what it'll continue to be, or choosing to opt for the complete unknown, which could be worse or could be what you want? What do you need to help you make that decision?
Nothing, and that's a no-brainer. I just need the strategy. I just need the steps to get there.
Mm-hmm. So the strategy and the steps, you're an implementation Banji.
A little bit.
Problem implementing. It's the energetics underneath the implementing that are screaming at you. Going to the place that's scary.
I'm introverted by nature, which sounds like a big fat excuse, but it is true that it draws a lot of energy in order for me to step out into what I feel would be a safe, into like a out of the box kind of environment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that looks like.
What if it's not being an introvert that's exhausting, but it's the fucking voice that keeps talking that's exhausting?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Lisa, I'm an introvert. I have got to recharge. I do not get my energy from people. I get it from alone time and space. So there's all kinds of stories that you're creating about what being introverted means. And what's a story about being introverted that will support you? I mean, shit, you have big aspirations to make a huge impact in this world. How are you going to do that if you believe the stories that you've been telling yourself about being introverted?
They just gotta click yes. And then it'd be fine.
So what's a new belief about being introverted that feels a hint of believable to you and more supportive in getting yourself out there with your message to make the difference that you're here to make?
What does it mean about getting myself out there, though? It would depend on what that is.
You can define it in any way you want. That's the thing, right? Like, it doesn't have to be going to where you were a whistleblower. You don't have to ever go there. Never, ever, ever do you have to go. You don't have to go anywhere. However, you have to be seen in your vulnerability, in your light, in your truth, in your power. And that means taking the masks off and showing up somewhere.
Are you talking about like the physical person showing up somewhere, or on
Online is great too. Anywhere, so long as the intention isn't still to hide.
Right.
So where do you feel the fear the most about becoming visible without any mask, like truly getting out of the box and opening yourself up to rejection?
Where do I feel it the most? Like what? I don't.
Like what activities come to mind where you feel the most?
Anywhere where anybody can see me.
Mm-hmm. So where would that be? Online?
Video. Online chat. Facebook Live. I can do it.
Of course you can.
I can do anything.
You were doing Facebook Lives. What was coming up for you when you were doing those?
But I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Per se. I don't like it in the sense that I haven't wanted to do it because I'm afraid that people are going to see it. So the idea of making, like, doing something live like this, although I still see it as being difficult, if it was being done by way of like a lead magnet or something like that, would be fine, because I feel like it wouldn't be seen by people in the community,
Mm-hmm.
where they would have an opportunity to make fun.
Mm-hmm.
I just give you a really quick example because I'm guilty of it. So I know who these bad people are because I'm one of them. One of the people who I blew the whistle on and harassed the shit out of me was on a talk show for learning how to dress. So right away, it caught my attention. I'm like, holy shit, that's so and so. And then I'm like, for real? You only have like the most amazing wardrobe. You make $300,000 a year. I know what you have. I know where you shop. I know, like, and here she is making believe on television, live for the whole world to see, that she doesn't know how to dress herself, that she doesn't know how to put makeup on, that she's not a professional person, right? Well, did I laugh my ass off? I videotaped that shit and I blasted it all over Facebook. I'm like, ah, look at this. I did. I'm like, what a loser. Who does that? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm that guy.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so that's the guy who's going to come and get me. And there's a whole bunch of them.
So what would it be if you exploited yourself in that same way?
What does that mean?
It means it's like, how can you remove the thorn? Like, you don't have to do it with your community. Like, that's, you don't have to do it on a public page. Like, that's maybe that's like a gigantic leap, as opposed to like, let's just step on the pebble on the way to the other side of the creek, as opposed to try and jump the whole creek. But when I say, how can you exploit yourself? It's like, the more comfortable you are with, the deeper acceptance that you can step into with all of the things that you judge yourself the most harshly with, then no matter who sees it or what they say, you become untouchable.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yep. It's
And
just
so,
the thing. I think what I hear you saying is just like when I'm able to freely say I struggle with anxiety.
yeah.
And I just say it up front as it is, because then you can't use it against me in the sense that, like, yeah, no shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Oh, she's crazy. There's something wrong with her. Yep. Yep, there is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm high strung. Very
Own
much.
it. Own every piece of it.
But essentially that's what you're
Yes,
saying.
exactly.
Yep.
And you don't have to do it out loud for other people, but at the very least, like, for yourself, like, yeah, I'm introverted. Yeah, I struggle with anxiety. Yeah, and you know what? I'm doing this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like owning it within yourself. So then anything anybody says, like, yeah, I knew all that before I did it, and it didn't stop me.
Yep.
So all marketing aside and all strategy aside, the biggest step for you is to truly become visible in some way, shape, or form. This is the energetics of your marketing that's been missing.
Okay.
So what comes to mind about how you can start stepping out of the cage that you've been in a way that actually feels a little scary?
Well, I hear you screaming vulnerability at me.
And what does that mean to you?
Truth telling.
Mm-hmm.
Through content, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What else am I supposed to know?
No, that's beautiful.
Oh, okay, good.
How do you feel about deeper truth telling and revealing of yourself through content, writing, video.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm. It's fine. The F word. I'll take that. It's not scary as all hell. Fine is the shift into level 3.
I can do, it was fun. You know, it's so funny that you say that, because on my Facebook, not my Facebook, on my website, I wrote like my, whatever you want to call it.
Yes, I remember this. And somebody said it was too much.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So right away, I felt shut down.
That was your test.
Which test? I failed the test. What the hell? Shit.
So I'm going to get super woo on you here, but I know you love it. The universe is always testing our trust. The trust in the belief in our own perfection, like the belief in the perfection of the universe, God, higher power, whatever. So as soon as we step out, we're going to be tested. We're going to be like, are you sure this is what you want to do? Do you really trust me? Do you really trust that you are protected, loved, guided, and supported no matter what comes at you? And if we don't really trust, we crawl back in a hole. But if we do really trust, we say, you know what? I do trust you. And then that's when we get to start the co-creation process with the universe. We don't have to work so damn hard.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start stepping out in visibility, are you going to be tested? You better believe it. Are you going to be judged? Mm-hmm. Are people maybe going to say some mean things? Then what? Then what do you want to do with that?
Can I hit them? Level 2. So sorry. I digress.
Oh, good.
You had me at 3. No. I don't know. What do you do with that? How do you... It's a weird thing for me, because it's like, it would be like, as a principal, do you know how much shit people threw my way? How many name calling, blah, blah. I've been called everything under the sun, and I'm like, right back at you, friend. Have a good day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine, right?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I'm not making the transition. And I think it just keeps going back to the fact that I was comfortable in, because I had the years of experience. I had the comfort level to do that. Whereas this, I don't have the experience just yet to be able to say, yeah. And then, it's a small community. Like it was like I don't know. It was predictable. It was a narrow community. And the comments were all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like, you're a shitty principal. Yeah. Okay. Like, so I knew what was coming, right? Mm-hmm. You could almost predict it. This, you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's coming at you, if they like it, if they hate it, if they're just going to hang up on you, if they're just going to like check out of your seminar or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I know the whole NATO thing, and I just say NATO, NATO, NATO all the time.
What's NATO?
Not attached to the outcome.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I've never heard it called that before. That's good. I like it.
Mod 3, Mod 2, I don't know. They called it NATO. Not attached to the outcome. So I just repeat all the time, NATO, NATO, NATO.
It sounds like an emergency response.
Yeah, NATO. It is. Abort, NATO.
Got it.
But again, because I think the years of experience as an educator, you built up the skin, but because this is like brand new baby skin for me, I don't have the thick skin yet.
Yeah.
And so, and then the failure, the gremlin piece does its work.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't have enough just to blow it off.
Mm-hmm. So when you had baby skin as a principal, how did you, before you had experience, because I'm certain that those comments and that negativity came at you pre-experience,
Yep.
pre-confidence as a principal.
Yep.
How were you able to thicken that skin when you were in that role?
Well, I had a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
She up and went and died on me with cancer, and that's a whole other tragic that I can't.
Yeah.
She fucked up my computer this weekend. I'm just saying. I'm telling you as clear as you're sitting there that she talks to me. So I know.
So what is she saying to you about all of this as your
mentor? I don't know why she shut down my computer. And that's how I know she's around, because right before she died, her brand new iPad that she was using to communicate with everybody and keep busy and all this stuff started doing funny things. And she's like, Lise, can you look at this for me? It's brand new. Shouldn't be doing this. And the mouse would go all out of control, and it would make the screen would have like a line that goes across it. And so all this weird crap when I was trying to make stuff on the computer, imagine that. I tried 3 times to write an article this weekend. It did not get done until today. And I had to dump my entire computer. Like, I mean, bare bones, nothing, right from scratch. I was so upset. And emergency trying to get all my stuff on a stick. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like a disaster. And I'm like, oh, why are you fucking with me? Like, just, probably her just telling me to stop making shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a way for people to buy, like, to have other people make my shit for me for a very good price.
Ever? Yeah. Get to hide even more.
So, yeah. Do you know how long it took me to post that, by the way?
How long?
And it's your fault. Like, oh my God, she's going to see this, and then she's going to call me on my shit, and then she's just going to, and I'm like, I know what she's going to say, so I shouldn't even bother to post it, but I wonder if I just do it on LinkedIn. She's not on my LinkedIn, so she won't see it.
What did you think I was going to say?
Why do you keep hiding behind all this shit? I don't know. Whatever you would coach me around, whatever. I knew you were going to tell me something.
You've been in avoidance of me.
Yeah. So...
Until the shit hit the fan hard enough for you to say, I need a session 3 times in a Voxer message.
Yeah.
You know that we could have been next time.
Yeah.
The shit's going to keep hitting the fan. It's just a part of our growth and our evolution. But
yeah.
So, okay. So back to your mentor though. You had this mentor.
Yep.
You had baby skin when you were stepping into that leadership role.
Yep.
And then your confidence built and your experience grew, and then you had thick skin and you could handle it no matter what came after you.
Yep.
What would your mentor say with your baby skin right now as you're launching this business?
She's like you in the sense that she would call me on shenanigans so badly, and she'd be kicking my ass. And then she'd be like, let's go get wasted. But
if I was in Canada right now, we could go get wasted.
Yeah. No, she was hardcore. And talk about an extrovert. Oh my God, that woman knew how to party and live. But she knew her stuff, and she just...
So what would she tell you at this?
She would just knock it off. She'd just say, like, you just got to do what you got to do. Like, get out of your head and start doing the do, I guess. Even it was really weird when I was going through all that stuff with the board. I had to fly to Ottawa because we were in litigation with an arbitrator and all that stuff. There's this so-called crazy lady that works at my dad's store, and my dad was sitting there eating his lunch, and a crazy lady came by, and she stopped and looked at him. Nobody pays attention to this lady because she just rambles on shit. So they just let her do her job. Nobody talks because they're afraid of her. Stops in front of my dad. My dad's just looking, and his eyes are like saucers, and she's like, your daughter's in trouble. Your daughter's in trouble, and I need you to know about KD. And he's like, what? He goes, KD. She says to him, KD. KD says, run the race. You need to finish the race. She's telling her to finish the race. Who's that older lady? My dad's like looking at this woman like, what is your problem? Who's that older lady? She's an older lady, and somebody that she really, really likes, and her name is KD, and she says to run the race, to finish the race. So before she had died, and she knew that I was running as part of a strategy to build team with this very difficult school that I was at, before she died, she entered herself into a race to raise money for her disease. So she knew that I would understand that message. And KD was her name is Karen Drago.
Wow.
My dad called me up. He was shaking. He was crying. He's like, I don't know what the hell just happened to me, but the crazy lady from work came up to me. He goes, who's KD? I was stunned. I was sick. I was sobbing because I knew who it was. It was Karen, who through this woman was telling my dad, because I was scared to death of what the board was going to do, what the lawyers were going to say and do, and all that other stuff. I'm up in Ottawa. I'm all by myself in a hotel with lawyers. And my dad calls me and says, KD says, run your race. So that's what she would say.
Yeah. You are so supported. You are supported on this earth and beyond this earth.
Do you believe in that shit? It's really weird.
I believe in that shit. Well, yeah, I've had plenty of those experiences too. Mm. And I'm going to tell you something, and this is pure truth. You think you hired me to help you build out sales funnels? Everybody who hires me experiences the healing they need to get where they need to go. It's just me and the universe's little secret. We can build out sales funnels, but the healing's got to happen first.
Yeah.
And it already is happening. It doesn't mean you have to work at it. It doesn't mean you have to think about it. It just means you have to set the intention and make the decision to run the race fearlessly, because it's time.
Yeah.
And Katie's in your corner, and she's not going to let you.
No.
Mess around
let me
with
create
any
any more templates. My whole computer. I'm like, really? I was so upset. Mm-hmm. Like, you pissed me right off. I was making a very nice template.
Yes. So, how to run the race. So here's the thing you said, vulnerable content. And the sweet spot is uncovering how you can take your vulnerable experiences, some of your stories. They don't all have to be vulnerable and life-shattering. They can be your funny stories about your son in baseball. They can be anything. But your life experiences that is revealing who you are, who you really are, your funny, quirky, amazing self, and sometimes terrified self, and pulling lessons out that inspire people and educate them and help them break through, specific to your niche.
Yeah.
Because content, just as content, is boring.
Thank you.
Content infused with who you are and some story and some connection and authenticity and vulnerability is magnetic.
Yep.
And what you in the 180-degree turn that you see me taking, it's not an either or, it's always the both and.
Okay.
Meaning that you've now built a list, so you have a warmer audience. It can be releasing. How many people are on your list from your lead magnets that you've launched out there so far with all that money that you invested?
40, maybe.
40?
Yep, not even.
What about when you were doing your ebook?
Yep.
Just 40 total.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So that's one place that you can start with writing a couple things, seeing who opens both of those. Then you'll know, like when they open 2 in a row, they're pretty engaged.
Right.
And maybe it's, again, this is also like when you see you were looking at different groups where there's other leadership consultants, like, but you know that women leaders are there. Like imagine it's just like the post you saw me post in the IPEC group on focus and simplicity.
Yep.
Content driven, but with no call to action.
Right.
So it's like no call to action, no sales, no nothing. Just maybe a call to action is, comment below or shoot an emoji down below just to get, so that it gets more organic reach. But like, then those that are like starting to comment or starting to like or starting to pay attention, then if you're just doing that consistently every week, you're going to start standing out. This is like a lighthouse. Like the lighthouse is like projecting the light out for the ships to start coming towards the lighthouse.
Right.
And just find, 3-4 groups that people are hanging in. Be of service, be vulnerable, be open. Again, you don't have to go to your local community.
Do I make my own group?
You can certainly make your own group. Then when you're in those other groups on the days that they have promo, that they allow you to do some promotion or just make sure you read the rules, you might be able to promote all the time. Just read the rules of any group that you're joining. And then on the promo days, or if they allow promotion wide open, then you can deliver the content just like you witnessed me doing. I know you role model really fast and easy. So you're delivering a little bit of content, evoking a little bit of curiosity. If they want the full training, they can catch it in the group. So I would start, it's up to you where you want to start. Like at least in your own group, then you can really like quality over quantity, just like find the women who love your voice, and even the women that are commenting on just a post. You can shoot them a little message on Facebook. Hey, thanks for the comment. I really appreciate it. I just want to let you know I have a very small group of women that I'm supporting over here, and then you could make that personal invite into the group.
Okay.
And just, again, like some people, at least in your niche, I guess they're fairly targeted, but, and then just deliver high value content every single week. Preferably Facebook Live and or video if you're not comfortable going completely live yet. You can create the video and edit it and then post it.
Okay. Right.
So the other piece is with the video. So I'm still waiting. I'm like fingers crossed, back to this both and. Facebook, it's so weird. When I had a video in the comments in my group, I can use that, like ideally what I'm waiting for Facebook to get on board with is that when you build your own secret garden, your own playground, that's your rules for your group. When you build that, I'm waiting for Facebook to be able to create a lookalike audience off of, so if you had 1,000 people in there, you create your lookalike audience, and then you know exactly who you're lookaliking from.
Right.
Like we'd start talking about before.
Yep.
So there's one, I know it's not far off, but there's one little quirky way, and this is like bigger picture, like down the road. Just again, like everything that you've already learned and implemented with Facebook, it's going to come back. Like it's just shift it up and help you step into more vulnerability for now with the organic, so it's not bleeding money through your Facebook ads. But the same sort of thing, if you decide to post something on your page, let's just say you do something kind of organic on your page, and you, or a dark post, same sort of thing, like the kind of post that you'd put in a group. Maybe the post itself is like the blog content, and then it's evoking the curiosity. And then in the ad itself, you can say, again, for those of you that want a deeper training on this, I'll be doing a training on XYZ day at XYZ time. So you could put an ad behind that too. So it's like both, and so you can draw organically by posting in groups, and you could also create, even if it's a couple bucks a day, just to consistently drive a couple people into your group.
Okay.
So there's a lot of options. I know now we're going into strategy and tactics after going really deep into breaking through the shit. So I just want to check in with you, like what's standing out about how you want to move forward with everything that we dove into today.
I'm tired.
Of course you are.
So I just, I need process time, I think.
Yeah. What supports you the most in, okay, so let's do, how do you discern when it's your gremlin and when it's you?
What does that mean? When it's me, what?
So I can't believe we've never done this. We always just go so far into strategy. Would you like to just play with a quick exercise so that you can know how to access your power and your truth at any given moment, as opposed to letting the gremlin run the show?
You sure?
Sure. Sure is not an answer.
Yes?
Or no, your choice.
Yes, sure. Yes.
Throw another sure in there? You for real?
Yes, sure.
Okay, real convincing. Okay, so I got this little exercise. It's a little blend from Wayne Dyer and Michael Singer from Unto the Result. So our power can only exist in one place at a time.
Yep.
Right? It's either with our fear, our gremlin, or it's with our truth and who we really are. So there's this little exercise, like one of the ways that we know we can always connect into our power, of course, is meditating, but sometimes we can't shut our head up still, and it's hard to meditate, and it seems like it takes forever. But there's just these little tiny moments that you can reconnect in and know that your power is with you at all times, and it kills and dissipates when we're giving our power over to our fear instead of our truth. And so what's an object that's right in front of you that you can look at?
My phone, my book, my computer, my tape, I don't know.
Okay, so your book. Let's just say your book. So when you're looking at that book, are you the book? Oh, yes, the Wonder Woman book. Are you the Wonder Woman book?
Yes.
What makes you...
Do you want me to be?
What makes you think that you're the book?
What the hell is this question? What do you mean?
Are you the book? Are you the book? Are you that book right there?
Oh, like, are you being for real?
Yes, that's my question.
Okay. I would probably say no.
No.
I am not the book.
You are not the book. Okay, good.
Unless you really want me to be, then I will try.
No. So you're not the book because
I am not the book.
You are observing the book.
Yes.
So you're observing the book and the book is over there.
Yeah. This is Untethered Soul Chapter 2.
You got it?
I got it.
Yes. So the hello exercise?
Oh, I don't know the hello.
Okay.
Keep going. No, but I'm with you. I know where I'm. So I'm the observer and I'm watching the scene that's happening.
Yes, exactly. So now in your head, say hello, hello, hello. Are you that voice?
No.
And why not?
I think because, well, I really struggled with Chapter 2.
I want you to
because the voice is just it's kind of like created from the external world. It's not of your soul, and because I can hear it, I'm observing it. It's not actually coming of me.
Beautiful. So you're the observer of the voice, which you can't be the observer and the thing you're observing at the same time.
Right.
So now I want you to do it again, and I want you to really tune into that observer part of yourself. And then what I want to know is, how do you experience that, or how would you describe the observer? So do whatever you need to do to just kind of tune into that.
It doesn't really talk.
Mm-hmm. So it's quiet. How else would you describe that observer space?
I don't know. Truthfully, it's dark.
It's dark. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm supposed to have a garden or something floral or something happy.
Not
But,
necessarily.
it's it's very dark. It's very quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of nothing, a lot of nothingness,
Yeah.
a lot of space.
Space, darkness, quietness, nothingness. And where would you say around your body or in your body you experience that observer part of yourself?
The image is coming like at the very bottom part of my heart, which is weird, but that's
Mm-hmm.
the image.
Yeah. And if you were to imagine that observer part of yourself in the bottom part of your heart, what do you physically feel in your body there?
Right now, pain. Yeah.
So imagine crawling into that observer, the dark, quiet space.
It's safety.
Safety.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Protection.
Yep.
So that observer, which of course, knowing how much of an introvert you are, a dark, quiet, spacious, nothingness space feels very safe and comforting and protective. And that's also exactly where all of your power is. It's like that's where you're untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you catch your thoughts, no matter what they are, we did a neutral thought of hello. Your gremlin has another slew of thoughts, and your level 3 has another slew of thoughts like, I got this, I'm good at whatever, right? Affirmations.
Yeah.
All of them aren't you. None of them are you. You're in that quiet, still, safe place. And you can bring your attention back to that power of nothingness, which is also the direct line to your intuition and messages from KD and everything outside of ourselves at any time.
I have to finish reading the book.
I still haven't finished reading the book.
It's thick. You got to chew on it.
Yeah. And so the Wayne Dyer piece that I just wanted to share, have you read much of Wayne's stuff?
Yep.
Yeah. So he always uses the analogy of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
You know this one?
No.
Okay. So if you were to take a look at the ocean and take a cup of water out of the ocean, what part of the ocean is in that cup of water?
No, I don't know.
So imagine that. You got a cup, you go into the ocean, you take it out. What part of the ocean is in that cup of water?
Who knows?
Who knows? So it doesn't separate out. It's not like this is this piece of the ocean and that's that piece of the ocean. It's like the essence of the entire ocean is in the cup of water, a bucket of water, a drop of water. No matter how big or small it is, it contains the essence of the entire ocean.
Right.
And so when your gremlin's going crazy, it's believing that it is only a drop pulled out of the ocean, or it is only a cup pulled out of the ocean. It's separate from. And that space of your truth, of your power, of your observer self remembers it contains in every single cell of your DNA, Lisa, the entire essence of the universe, all encompassing. That's the power you have access to through your observer. And it's right there every second of every day.
Mm-hmm.
So what will support you in remembering who you really are when your gremlin wants to be driving the bus?
I think we go to this place in Kalamazoo, Michigan. It's called the Apple Farm. And it's no Wi-Fi, no tech, no nothing. Death to me. But I think I need the weekend just to be and recharge, I guess, and recreate that. I want to look at potentially recreating that space. It's kind of bleak, really, to snuzzle up into a black dark hole. Because when you're telling me to draw my power out of there, and I'm like, well, fuck, no wonder I can't.
Think about the universe. The universe is a big dark hole. Look up the sky, just pure, like, never-ending nothingness of black.
Okay, but
stars.
So, what is your space?
Well, I always feel my observer like kind of right behind me. And so that's kind of the sensation that I feel when I go there. It's just kind of like it's right behind me and above me. And I don't have a visual for it. I just can feel that that's where it is. That's where I find, and it's more the feeling, peace, calm, presence. Yeah.
What do you do to access it?
Just remember that it's there always.
Yeah.
And then practice. Like, so the gremlin, you know, it's like the message, it's like you tap into the observer and then the gremlin comes back. But the more you practice it, like first the gremlin comes back after a second. And then it's like the gap gets longer and longer and longer. And that's where before you know it, your mind has been silent for maybe an hour and you don't even know that you were in your observer self.
Right.
And then the gremlin comes back. It always does. It's just seeing like, oh yeah, but the observer's still there. I'm just choosing to listen to my gremlin because it kind of feels like punishment feels good, I guess, sometimes. It's just remembering. It's where KD's hanging out. It's where all your spirit guides, the universe cheering you on right here in the bottom of your heart. It's like they're all just there. Always. It's just sometimes we get so wrapped up in our gremlin messages that we forget that they're there.
Yeah.
Alone. For me, it's my grandma. You, it's KD.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And create to put something in your reticular activating system. For me, it's feathers. So whenever I'm really in a struggling spot, I pretty much told God universe, like, well, there's a story behind it. I was doing a walking labyrinth a few years ago. And I was like thinking about just being done with business and just it sucked. And every few steps there was a feather on the path. And then I was connected into my observer and I asked, why are all these feathers here? And I just heard, you are guided, you are loved, you are supported. You are guided, you are loved, you are supported. And now I just know every time I see a feather, the message is you are guided, you are loved, you are supported.
Right.
So just do you have something that you already put in your reticular activating system that you just like every time you see it, you just feel this sense of peace and calm?
No, but I have been on one of those labyrinth things. That's what they have at at the Apple Farm. Mm-hmm. And so we do hikes and stuff through there just for meditation and that. But no, but I can get me one of those reticulating things.
Yes, it's your reticular activating system. It's like when you buy a new car and you think nobody else has the car, but then you see them everywhere. It's like once
Yes.
something's put into your consciousness, you see it everywhere. So that's
Yes.
why when you put things like that into it, you just are reminded constantly to stay connected to your observer. It's powerful.
Okay.
Okay, so I know I'm sure like way over. Well, no, we're not too over at all. We did good. Okay. So so how are you feeling? The apple orchard sounds like, seriously, that's the most powerful thing you can do to grow your business right now. Like that's it.
Yep, I know.
How are you feeling?
Yep, good.
Good. Okay. Don't be a stranger. Reach out. Let me know when you're going to the apple orchard.
We're looking at this weekend.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Matt will be with you?
No, it's it'll just be Chris and I. Matt couldn't go. Like it's the apple orchard isn't like an apple orchard. It's a place where you go and you have to be silent. It's a silent retreat house kind of thing where you get a room and that's all there is just like a room and a bed and a little kitchenette. And then there's like hills that you hike. There's the labyrinth thing that you can go through, and down the way there's like a monastery, and I don't know, it's weird people that run the place. They're very religious people and they eat off the land, and I don't know, just weird people, but whatever. They own it. And I think like you're supposed to be prayerful or mindful or whatever, but it's no talking. There's no talking. So when we go, we usually bring books, and it's books, journaling, writing, a lot of sleeping. And we do that for 2 or 3 days just to kind of recharge. And
sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then we cheat and we go out at the nighttime to a bar.
You gotta break it up a little bit. You still gotta be human.
No, I did a 4-day silent retreat. Oh my God. I thought I was going to die. And meditation and all that sort of stuff. And wow, it just about killed me. But then it was really weird because when you went back into the mainstream community, you don't realize just quite how noisy the world is. Even just being 4 days removed from and being in that silence, and then going to McDonald's or going to Myers or whatever, and the noise was just so overwhelming. It felt deafening.
Yeah.
And it took another day or so to kind of just acclimatize back into the regular life or whatever. But just the silence is very powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
I just had this vision of you like truly emerging out of, it's almost like the shedding of all that old skin that you've been carrying around. You're like a snake that has layers and layers of skin that you haven't shed yet, and you just get to shed it all and just come out like a new baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that was delightful.
I love you. What's that?
That was delightful.
I love you. I can't wait for you to see you and how freaking brilliant and bright your light is. I can't wait for you to see it the same way I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You looked up like, oh, yep, I'll believe it someday. Okay.
You can't see anymore.
But I still can.
I know. Connected.
All right. I'm glad we could connect in here, and I can't wait to hear how it goes and how strong you're coming out of all of this.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Have a good rest of your week.
Yep, you too.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.